have reached Red Steele's Most Nerd Collector Review. I'm your man, Red Steele, and today I'll be reviewing from Transformers Age of the Primes Fireflight. Transformers Age of the Primes Fireflight. But before I get into the actual review, I just want to go over some of the spectacular details on this packaging. Up front here, to explain what I'm showing you about the figure and all of its accessories inside. The top corner here it says, more than meets the eye. Below that you have the Autobot symbol over here. You have 4 of 5 Superion. And below that it says it takes 17 steps to transform him. And on the very bottom here you have an 8+, which is the age requirement for this figure. Inside the packaging here you have 2 beautiful illustrations of both Fireflight in his robot mode and in his jet mode. Across the bottom here it says Transformers Age of the Primes. In the corner you have Aerialbot Fireflight. In the other corner here you have the Hasbro emblem. Inside the packaging here on the very top it says 4 of 5 Superion, collect to combine. Then the middle here you have this beautiful illustration of Superion. And below that you have Transformers Age of the Primes. Then below that it says Aerialbot Fireflight. The other side of the packaging here, on the very top it says till all are one. Middle here you have a beautiful illustration of some of the Primes. Below that again you have Transformers Age of the Primes. Then on the very bottom here it says it is a deluxe class figure. Then the back of the packaging here, in the corner you have Aerialbot Fireflight. In the other corner here you have 4 of 5 Superion, collect to combine. Middle you have all the figures features such as Fireflight in his robot mode, Fireflight in his jet mode, and over here it says it takes 17 steps to get there. Then in this corner here you have the More Than Meets the Eye authentic logo, and at the very bottom here you have the Hasbro emblem. Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbot Fireflight. Fireflight was released September 2025 with the suggested retail price of $24.99 and is available at all major retailers. Fireflight was released along with the other Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Wave 3 figures, Micronus Prime, Skydive, and Venom. Fireflight is a Generation 1 inspired figure that converts to his jet mode in 17 steps. His accessories include 2 blasters and instructions. Fireflight stands 5.5 inches tall and he is meant for fans ages 8 and up. Now I'm going to go ahead and convert Fireflight from his robot mode all the way to his jet mode. But the first thing you always want to do before you transform any of your Transformers, you want to remove all their weapons and accessories. So I'm going to take Fireflight's blaster here, and I'll put this off to the side. With the first step of the transformation, you have Fireflight's head right here. You want to take his head and rotate it all the way around just like that. There's a step number 2. On the back of his head you have this landing gear here. You have a hinge joint right there. You want to take that landing gear, bring it down just like that. So step number 3, you have Fireflight's arms right there and right there. Where the bicep meets the shoulder, there's a swivel joint. You're going to rotate this arm around just like that. Do that to the other side where the bicep meets the shoulder. We're going to rotate this arm all the way around just like that. So step number 4, we're going to turn Fireflight all the way around. Get the forearm here. At the elbow you have a double jointed hinge joint right there. Once you have that forearm, you want to bring it right into the back of the shoulder just like that. Do that to the side, bring that arm, and bring it right into the shoulder just like that. So step number 5, you have another double jointed hinge joint right there and right there. We'll go ahead and bring that arm piece up and in just like that. Do that to the side, bring that arm piece up and in just like that. So step number 6, on the inside of the forearm right here, you have a porthole. Side of Fireflight, you have a little tab right there. You want to take that forearm and push it right into that tab just like that. Do that to the other side, take that forearm and push it right into that tab just like that. So step number 7, we'll turn Fireflight all the way around. You have that nose cone right here. You have a hinge joint back here. Take that nose cone and bring it all the way out just like that. So step number 8, another hinge joint right on the bottom here. I'm going to bring that entire back assembly in. A couple tabs right there, you have a couple portholes right there. I want to tab everything into place just like that. Step number 9. You want to take Fireflight You have his legs right there. In between his legs, you have some tabs and some portholes. You want to take his leg pieces now and tab them together just like that. So step number 10, you have this white panel in front of his legs here. You have a hinge joint right there and right there. With these white panels, you want to bring them open just like that. So step number 11, you have this thigh right here. On the bottom of the thigh, you have a double hinge joint right there and right there. You want to do that thigh now, you want to slightly bring it down just like that. So step number 12, you want to take the thighs now and completely collapse them into the leg just like that. So step number 13, you want to take these white panels now, you want to go ahead and close them back up just like that. So step number 14, you have Fireflight's feet right there. They're on hinge joints also. You want to bring his feet down just like that. So step number 15, you want to turn Fireflight all the way around. You have this end piece of his jet right here, and that's on a hinge joint. You want to bring that down also just like that. So step number 16, you have this tail fin right there. You have a hinge joint right there. Do that tail fin and bring it up just like that. Because in the 17th and final step, you have Fireflight's wings right there and right there. I want to take his wings now, bring them down just like that, and just like that, and now you have Fireflight in this full jet mode. Now that Fireflight in this jet mode, and on my display table, I just want to go over some of his display features and accessories. First, I talk about his blasters. And according to the instructors, we're going to arm Fireflight with his blasters while he's in his jet mode. And that's because on the bottom of the blasters here, a 5mm peg. Turn Fireflight over, on the bottom of his wings, you have a 5mm porthole right there and right there. I want to take these blasters now. I want to plug them right into his wing just like that. Do that to that blaster, plug it right into the wing just like that. And now you have Fireflight armed with his blasters while he's in his jet mode. Very cool, but I'm not a big fan of arming my Transformers while they're in their alt mode. And alt mode is anything that's not the robot mode. So it's a vehicle mode, animal mode, in this case a jet mode. And since it does not play in the part of the transformation, I'm not going to go ahead and leave the blasters on the wing. I'm going to take them off, put them off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Fireflight's jet mode or lack of jet mode. So I feel like it was a lazy attempt at making a jet mode. It's one of those cases where they got a great robot mode out of him. And I'll get more into the robot in a second, because there's something that kind of really bothered me about the transformation. But he kind of looks more like Broadside to me. And if you guys know, you know. You know, Broadside is a triple changer that was a very, very lackadaisical transformer back in the day. And this jet mode is just kind of like a brick with wings almost, where it's not it doesn't even have like a jet form to it. They didn't really do much of a transformation. I know a lot of the jet mode has been sacrificed because of the robot mode and the Superion mode, which I won't really get into Superion in this review, because I do have all 5 combination parts for Superion, but I'm going to dedicate a separate review just for Superion to kind of get away from, you know, taking away from the individual Aerialbots, because I want to go ahead and talk about the individual Aerialbots. And out of the ones I've reviewed so far, this is the one that I'm a little disappointed in, because the jet mode is not fantastic. I mean, with Combiner Wars and Generation 1, they nailed it with the jet mode. But I don't know why they couldn't carry that kind of element into the Age of the Primes version of Fireflight, which I'll go ahead and bring in my Combiner Wars version of Fireflight and show you the jet mode is fantastic here. I mean, the only bad thing about this jet mode is the arms right here protruding from the side. They could have done something, but I mean, trial and error, and engineering just has not come to the point to where it is right now, where they found just clever ways of concealing certain body parts, which they did conceal the arms with the transformation of this version of Fireflight, but it took away from the actual jet mode, unfortunately. I mean, the jet mode could have been a little bit sleeker, because even with Generation 1, you have that sleek jet mode. And it just, the design element did carry from Generation 1 to Combiner Wars, but for some reason it was lost in translation with Age of the Primes. So Age of the Primes jet mode is probably the worst out of the 3 that I have to say, and I have to say the best out of the 3 is Combiner Wars. They did a great job with this version of Fireflight and his vehicle mode. I mean, the Generation 1 version is very basic, and it does what it needs to do. It's an actual jet mode. And with Generation 1, you know, they engineered the robot mode from the vehicle mode. And I do have that theory about the Generations Transformers, which kind of incorporates the War for Cybertron, Studio Series, Legacy, and Age of the Primes series. is that they engineered the vehicle mode from the robot mode, which is a hard feat to do. But the one thing I don't like too is that gap right here too in jet mode. It's kind of hard because there's no way to really tab that in together. And I know this piece separates when he combines with Superion. That's why he has that gap there. And I kind of don't like it. And I think what Hasbro and Takara pretty much just figured was we're not really going to display our aerial bots in their jet mode. So we're going to go ahead and just make it so that the robot mode's cool and Superion looks fantastic, and there won't really be a need for fans to like kind of clamor for or get too upset about the jet mode. But I'm just warning you guys that the jet mode is not the greatest. Now that Fireflight in his robot mode and on my display table, I once again want to go over some of his play features and accessories. First, I talk about his blasters. And like I mentioned earlier on, he includes 2 of these blasters. And according to the instructors, there's a way to arm Fireflight with these blasters while he's in his robot mode. And that's supposed to handle the blaster here. It's actually a 5mm peg. Each one of his fists has a 5mm porthole. Take that blaster and you plug it right into his fist just like that. Go and do that to your side to the other blaster, plug it right into his fist just like that. And now you have Fireflight armed with both of his blasters. Very cool. And these blasters are very faithful to the anime model from the Generation 1 cartoon series, as is the entire figure. His robot mode is very faithful to the anime model from the Generation 1 cartoon series, and to me, this has become the definitive Fireflight in robot mode. And I know I did not give the jet mode the best of reviews, and I felt the jet mode was, very lacking, and it felt like a brick with wings and a nose cone. Well, I say that because with Air Raid, Slingshot, Silverbolt, all the modes that they have, but with both the jet mode, the robot mode, and the combination with as Superion so far look fantastic. I don't understand why they didn't translate well with Fireflight, because Fireflight's jet mode just did not come out well. And in comparison to the Generation 1 toy and Combiner Wars, he really falls behind. But in robot mode, he excels. The only one setback I have with the robot mode is the lazy engineering behind the heel here, where it's just the tail fin that got bent up by the hinge joint. And I kind of wish that there was a way to engineer this so the tail fin combines with the nose cone to kind of simulate that mini little jet that looks like the jetpack from the back of the Aerialbots, which was both in a toy design and it was animated as part of the animated model from the Generation cartoon series, where the Aerialbots walking around with these mini jets that were on their backs, which was really, really cool. And I do have my Generation 1 version of Fireflight do a side-by-side comparison, and that's where the tail fin and nose cone kind of combine together from that little backpack, which they did actually animate as part of the character in the cartoon series. But the one thing that a lot of people don't know about is when they sent the actual toy designs to the animators, they faxed it over, and back then faxes were sent on these rolls of wax paper, which were very dotty and spotty and just weren't very clear. So what the animators had to do is kind of take that sketch that they saw on these faxes and derive an animated model for the actual cartoon series, which is why it deviates so much from the actual toy design to what you saw in the TV series, because the faxes were not clear. And even with the head sculpt right here, I don't know if you guys can focus in on it, it is way different than what they actually had in the actual cartoon series. Because this figure actually plays into my whole theory about being very faithful to the anime model, and Takara and Hasbro, what they did was they took the anime model from whatever respective cartoon series that they're basing the figure on, and they got the robot mode from that. Well, they took the robot mode and they engineered an alt mode, which was anything that's not the robot mode, and in this case, it's the jet mode. And they engineered the jet mode from his robot mode. And a lot of times, it does not go in sync with each other, where some of the proportions do not work out, and the alt mode just does not look as great. I mean, the robot mode still looks great, but they're okay with that because a lot of us Generation 1 fans, we clamored for a figure that was more cartoon accurate, which is what we're getting right now. I mean, and we can forgive the shoddiness if the alt mode, comes up a little short, but I prefer to have it all balanced, and I think they're doing a good job as of late with a lot of these figures where they're balancing out the alt mode and the robot mode. But in this case, it did not work out too well. But I'll go ahead and bring my Combiner Wars version in to show you that I do feel Combiner Wars was kind of a hybrid between the animated model and the Generation 1 toy, because you see a lot of the design elements did carry over from the actual Generation 1 toy into the head sculpt right there. And a lot of the toy design, or the animated model design, did carry over to this figure. And I do feel that he is more based on the IDW comic book design of Fireflight. So it was a whole different continuity, but it's still a great figure. And I felt like his jet mode was just fantastic. That's why I brought him out for. But the robot mode still goes to Age of the Primes version of Fireflight. And the one thing that I did say was I felt that the new generation's toy line does engineer backwards, where they engineer from the robot mode to get the alt mode. One generation one day had an easier feat, because what they did is they took a little vehicle and they engineered a robot mode from it. Well, saying that they had to do the opposite for Age of the Primes or any of the generation's toy line, it is very challenging. It's almost like a puzzle where you gotta somehow pull out a really, really close resemblance to what you saw in the cartoon series, but maintain that whole alt mode, which, you know, I know I was a little hard on the jet mode, but I'm just not feeling it with this version of Fireflight when it comes to the jet mode. But the robot mode is fantastic. I mean, you have many points of articulation. You have toe articulation, you have knee articulation, you have the thigh swivel, you have hip articulation where it goes up and down, side to side, you have waist articulation, you have elbow articulation, which is double jointed elbow. You do not have fist articulation. You don't have a swivel joint for the fist, but you have the bicep swivel. You have the shoulder on a ball socket joint where it go all the way around. Or no, it's not on a ball socket joint. It's on a swivel joint. Sorry, double swivel joint where it go up and down and all around. The same for the head. The head's on a ball socket joint where it go all the way around, up and down, side to side, and all around. Very, very cool. And I love it because, I mean, as a Generation 1 kid, you didn't have all these points of articulation. You know, you have an alt mode, which is the jet mode, and you have a full-fledged action figure that can pretty much use any standardized weapons. All the weapons now are 5mm pegs. And I know the Generation 1 version of Fireflight only include one blaster, so I'm going to go ahead and take this blaster and put it off to the side. And I'm going to display him probably as he appeared in the Generation 1 cartoon series and the toy. I want to go ahead and rotate him around so you can see what he looks like from all angles. If you found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel. And while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.